Alright, guys, we are back, and it has been a very long time, and I apologize for that. But I've, let's see, how long has it really been? I think I, I think I started this when I first started my new job, and that's been going pretty well. Um, we've also got some other things. I things have ramped up as far as my job, so and I've gotten new responsibilities and life. So it's kind of kept me from doing these, even though I've wanted to do these for a while. I just haven't been able to find the right time, and it seems that this is the right time. And happy Juneteenth for to everybody. I know that was yesterday, but yeah, I just wanted to get that out the way. Even though I'm a little self-conscious about that because of this playthrough I'm about to do. Um, because as you can see, we're playing as the Kingdom of Benin, and there's going to be a lot of slavery going on in this playthrough. I'm not gonna lie to you, and I'm a little bit. I feel terrible, but nonetheless, that is the plan. Um, so specifically for the country of Benin. Benin is I feel like Benin is an easier country to play uh among the African nations that you could play. So Benin has some things going for it. For one, unlike in where I was my old games where I playing Great Zimbabwe, um, Benin actually has a city. Even more so, Benin, its capital is on farmlands, and this is very important for our plan. So, what I plan to do is to immediately, immediately, well, I'm not going to say immediately, but my overall plan is to take over some of these neighboring countries and absorb all of their populations into the city of Benin because it can handle it. Um, we're gonna get our economy up. We're gonna get our economy up, and we're gonna turn this city into a megalopolis. Now, I do realize that I haven't really considered how um I haven't really considered whether or not the cost effectiveness of founding a megalopolis because obviously you can see it's like 7,000. Um, and that's a lot of money, especially for a nation, especially for Benin right now. Um, so how are we going to build our economy? So my plan is it's not a foolproof plan, but the plan that I do have right now is to lean heavily into textiles, specifically cotton, and build up a textile industry. Um, build a bunch of spinners guilds and do other things. But the main idea is to build spinners guilds and hopefully, hopefully, um, make hopefully make some money off of the textile industry. Maybe tailors guilds, but it might be difficult to make tailors guilds as profitable in my life because I've played Benin before, off offline, and tailors guilds are not as profitable as Spinners Guild. One, because it's not benefiting from the 10% bonus from having a raw resource in the province, because there's no raw resources. Well, I guess the wool. Yeah, the wool. I wasn't even thinking about that. But there's no wool. There's no wool here, so my point still stands. My point still very well stands. I mean, if we colonize here, perhaps we could start uh, building a Hold on, let me see, because it's in this province. Um, I don't know if it'll actually be profitable to build wool there, but we could definitely make use of the RGO bonuses for the Tailors Guild. But I don't want to colonize there because, well, I'm not sure whether or not I'm going to colonize there. It's not going to be my first priority. We'll put it like that, because I want to colonize this province and this province. So this is the Niger Delta and Bonny, and I want to colonize both of these areas because they have very good harbor, natural harbors in Brass and Calabar. I think I think Forcados, no, Cabo Formoso, that has another decent, semi okay harbor, but definitely. I mean, you can just go to the thing right here. So yeah, these are very good spots. There's an also an even better spot here, but the likelihood of me getting that before Molly um, might be low. I mean, maybe if I had a better understanding of the game, and I knew, and I had a better understanding of the timings of things, maybe I might be able to pull it off. But again, like, it's not guaranteed. But our main focus is to start our building up our population in Benin, because um because of the consequences of colonization, it's going to take a huge toll on your accepted cultures. And right now my plan is to only accept Edo, and I also plan to enslave these Ijao and Yoruba, so that I can use them as slave commodities, but more importantly, uh, for my colonial plantation economy, and in this early point, um, for these RGOs, particularly cotton. And there's a decent amount of cotton around. So I have this cotton here, have cotton here, and this small nation has cotton. I might just take them over. You got cotton, more cotton right here, saffron. Another thing that I want to address is that Benin does not have the technology to use iron. So I do want to take over this country here, Ife. I do want to take this country over. It's small and it has a decent sized population, but otherwise, I'm not going to be able to make use of the iron because I can't. expanded. But what we can immediately make use of is the cotton and the dyes as well. Or can also, and we have lumber here. We have lumber here as well. So we're gonna be making use of a lot of the lumber and things, and we're going to. A lot of these nations are just going to vassalize until we can build up control and um, market access. I've been very I've been very big about the expanding market access before I start building buildings, but I understand now that my understanding before was that market that if you have a lot of control but not a lot of market access, it meant that a lot of money was going to go to waste. That's not the case because market access all market access depend determines how much of the good you're getting, how much of the input you're getting, or how much of the output you're getting out of whatever building you're trying to build. So, because it determines the output at the end, the only amount of money is how much output that comes from that. Uh, how do I say that? How do I say that? The amount of out the amount of output determines how much money you make, but even if you have low market access and thus low output, you can still make money off of it from the crown point of view because as long as you have a high control. Now, there's still the calculation of whether or not um this is worth putting that kind of money into. So we're not just gonna be putting buildings in like market access locations with like 15% market access. That's what we're gonna do. But we will expand what will be where to put buildings based off of you know I mean if it's still gonna make us a profit, and I mean the crown a profit, uh, there's no reason not to build it there, even if it might not have optimal market access. But it's my tendency to having things fit exactly how I want to fit it that makes a lot of my playthroughs inefficient, and I'm trying to be better about that. Anyway, um, and my next thing I want to say before I start is that our plan is to control West Africa and build an empire bigger than Mali, bigger than the Songhai, when they historically ruled most of West Africa. So I want to have at least all of this, but also a colonial empire. Just the ability and opportunity to like bring all these different exotic goods like Chinese. We want to make a trading empire, but we do want to physically control, uh, or at least politically control, the majority of West Africa, to include the coastlines. That's going to be difficult, because we don't we don't even have feudalism yet. So see here, no feudalism, no legalism. With Zimbabwe, we actually had feudalism, so we had all the technologies that, with the exception of legalism, we had all the technologies that Western nations would have, if I'm not mistaken. Because I don't think they had that Europeans get meritocracy immediately either, though I could be wrong. In any case, that is the plan. else? What else? What else? I think there's something else I wanted to say, but I can't remember what it is that I wanted to say. Um, and if I do sound a little off, it's it's very early that I'm doing this video. I don't sleep well. I don't want to get too much into my life, but I wake up a little groggy and I still got that in my voice. Um, as far as the plan here, my initial plan is probably to it's probably going to be getting to oil. Probably take this cotton here from Akure, take the fiber crops, iron, and then the dyes, and then we take over oil. Now, there's another problem with that. We how do I do it? It's been a while since I played, so I have to think about some things. Okay, so we can't create a conquest Casus Belli, and it's gonna be a while before we get to the religious Casus Belli because we have yeah, it's just the nature of the thing. But anyway, basically what we're gonna end up doing is we're gonna wait for the parliament, and we're just going to fabricate a casus belli. I'm thinking I'm gonna just form a casus belli on this cotton producing location here. I don't think I care for any of these other parts. The dye is gonna be nice, but everything else not so much. I mean, the fiber crops will be nice too. Um, that being said, it probably might be better. Usually, in my games, uh I take over Neri, and then I so that I can have access to these resources. So what I'm probably gonna do is do my first war because I believe I can do the cleanse heresy on Casus Belli on them. So I can just build spy networks here, and eventually I'll have enough spy networks uh, to invade Neri or Enri. I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce it. I'm not Nigerian. Uh, but we're gonna take over this country. Probably just vassalize it. Well, I think what I want to do is initially take the population, send it to Benin, and then we can start and then we can start um, enslaving the population and or converting it. So that's the plan for that. All right. Our first reform, not a lot to choose from. So I understand that the um that most from what I understand, like the best value between land and naval, as long as you have a naval presence whatsoever, meaning you have a port, it's better to go naval as opposed to land because the bonuses from naval are generally typically better than going land, simply because trade sea efficiency covers a lot more distance than trade land efficiency. Especially if you're going to have, like, you're trying to do overseas trade, naval is just better. Though, with that said, there is a reform, later on, that gives you flat development growth, as opposed to what this is giving you, percent development growth. And I do like flat development growth. I'm not sure how I want to do that. I mean, I know how I want to do it, but I mean, like, um, I'm not sure whether or not I want to lean into land again, because this is a good, because this would be, if I was going into land, this would be a good reform. Um, Foreign buildings cost, that would also be pretty good, actually. I just can't make use of it at the moment because I don't think I can build. I don't think I can build the trade buildings in these countries, because I think you'd need to have a town on the coast to build the trade buildings. Let me verify that though. Trade office. Oops, I didn't need to do that. Trade office. Let's look at the requirements. Special condition: trade office can only be built if the following conditions are at least. Does not have Japanese. Don't care about that. It's not a building base, of course not. Does not have the Japanese clan government reform. Oh, so this means nothing. It can only be built. Trade office can only be built if the following conditions are true: is a port, and it can only be built in foreign locations that has 100 opinion of us, cities and towns. So it has to be a port in a. It has to be a location where there's a port, and it has to be a town or a city. None of these qualify for that. And until maybe Egypt gets developed, I might allow them, once I vassalize them. I mean, they usually have enough economy to start building their own towns and cities, even though they have RGOs that I would rather they not do that. I would rather siphon their economy and perhaps people from them so that they, one, can't build cities, and two, can focus on raw material production. Um, but yeah, I don't think I can really lean into foreign trade until I can start setting up, um, until I can start building a maritime presence. So there's something to be said about declaring war on Egypt and holding actually holding that territory. But I don't think that'll be worth it in the end. I already got two ports right here, so all I really need to do is all I really need to do is uh build a bunch of fishing villages, and that will give me sailors I can use to start exploring. Um, I don't think I'll be able to get to um, I don't think I'll be able to get to Europe just yet. because I don't have enough um, trade range or diplomatic range. I would need to I would need to colonize this area. So I think that is going to be the plan, is to colonize this area, build up some ships so that I have a decent amount of maritime presence so that I can actually take over those things. Though at that point I might need to take over this province simply to build more fishing villages so that I have more sailors, so I can build more ships that'll build maritime presence. So that's going to inform some of our early technology decisions. But for now, the two best technologies to get right now is proximity and monthly legitimacy. Above pretty much all others, it's just more useful for me right now. Institution growth will be a good thing as well. Actually, for clergy is also pretty good. Um, the thing is, I don't know whether or not I want to get institution growth first or start building my account. I think it's better to start building my economy, because what's the point of having the technology if I can't use it? So, so we got those two locked in, and we're gonna go right down into construction speed and maximum RGO size. And then once the Renaissance, Jesus Christ, I can't use words. Once the Renaissance pops off, I will move towards. I don't think there's a. I'm trying to remember, is there a diplomatic range around here somewhere? No, it doesn't look like it. So I'll need to get Renaissance, the actual Renaissance institutions from the Europeans before I can start getting the other things that I need, such as all this stuff. Anyway, I apologize, we still haven't started, but I just had to lay my plans down and also develop them on the fly. I want innovative, but at the cost of court, when we're only making one ducat a month, I don't know if I want to do that. So let's go with balanced court. That's gonna cost us. Um, Education of the masses. We're gonna go with religious teachings because I want to improve clergy estate satisfaction. Even though that's gonna push us to spiritualists, which I don't necessarily want, but it is what it is. Um, as far as this stuff, clergy and administration, I do, like I said, I want to expand on, I want to increase clergy equilibrium. I might not want to make very much use of them for the moment. I might want to increase our economy to the point where we can operate without taxing the clergy, or at least where we can where we can put tax exemption, because that's going to give us a huge boost to our equilibrium. Because what I want to maximize right now is because I think the higher your equilibrium is, the better your research rate. Which we don't have a lot, so trying to maximize that is, I think, is a worthy goal. The cost effectiveness of it, I'm unsure about, but for now, I think that's a worthy, noble goal. Another thing that we want is for the burgers. So I'm gonna prioritize um, the burgers because I do want to reduce building costs. That's one thing. And I also want to give us a boost to monthly development. And now we're doing our rivals. So we're gonna rival Inri once we actually attack them, and once we attack them, they're no longer gonna be a rival, and we could probably rival oil. We could probably rival oil now. For now, I'm just going to just randomly say Borgu and Canum. And then religious aspect, population growth is nice, but I think I would rather have the monthly prosperity because that also increases development, and development is something I do want to focus on. Alright, for now, I want to focus on strengthening legitimacy. I'm not going to increase the slider because I'm not as concerned about lower legitimacy so long as it's above that's so long as it's above 50. I'm fine with that. Um, what else? I do want this to help me build up to capital economy, but more so than that, I want to build up plutocracy. Now, the thing about that is, I don't need trade advantage at the moment. Well, maybe I do. Maybe I actually do. If I can get more trade advantage, that means I have more access to the. I can make more use of the trade here in Mali. 'Cause right now, trade advantage, yeah, 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 yeah. And we're not gonna be able to fight. We're not gonna be able to fight Mali. Um, buildings in foreign locations. Yeah, there's not really a way for us to make any advances into the Diani market because we can't. There's no, like I was saying before, we can't really put trade buildings there. So it's a bit of a wash in that department. Though once I colonize this, I may be able to build a new market here and siphon some of their resources, and send it back to Benin or just profit off it in general. Okay, but I don't think this is for that reason alone. We're not gonna be able to use this. Um, Autocracy, increasing crown power would be nice if we're trying to improve trade, but I'm not trying to. I'm not trying to be an aristocratic government. I would rather be plutocratic, or at least not aristocratic, because I personally I take issue with this. This I take issue with. This is good. This is good. This is good. And that is good. This is only going to be an issue much later on. But all these other things make this worth it. This is good. I don't like the nobility having that much power. Now, it may be the case. It may become the case if I were to talk about maximizing taxes that I switch. Excuse me. That I switch to aristocratic so that I can improve the nobles' power to reduce the power of the burghers. That might be a thing, but that I'm gonna need a lot of economy to so that I can take this hit if we're gonna go straight to back to aristocracy. And it's not like there's not good things from going aristocracy. It's just that most aren't good. Most aren't good, to be fair. So we may need to make a counterbalance of that. But I think like right now, the goal is to help with development, and this will indirectly help with development, food production, so we don't have to worry about food as much, and then progress to land, which I'm still iffy about. I'm still iffy about that. Still very much iffy about that. Cause trade C efficiency is so good because it reduces the trade range that you need to reach other markets, and that's something that I'm really aiming for, so I can improve my own profits. But as far as like what we have available as reforms, this is the best one. So that's the plan. That's what we're going with. That's what we're sticking to. We need gold, leather, and tar. So there's gold over here. So once we start colonizing, we can take this gold, but it's going to be a while before we actually get to um, exploiting that gold. That gold. Uh, what is the next thing I want to do? Probably the next thing is reducing aristocracy, but I do not think without a good okay, this guy, he's got 68, so he will boost the monthly society changes by like what, it'll go from 10 monthly change per month to 13, roundabout. It's just not good enough. Like stacking, if you use stack uh, cabinet efficiency, stacking cabinet efficiency would make this better, and having a better Jesus, I can't get my thoughts together. Having a better ruler would make it would improve the stat growth as well. But and we have a good diplomatic guy, so maybe we can. It'll be slow, but what else can I do? Tribesmen and the peasants. So I realized another thing that peasants tribesmen don't provide you anything. It's kind of like Victoria 3 in that they don't provide you any taxes. They don't and they don't require any food, which it's good in the sense that it's a cost that you don't have to account for. But the problem is, if we want to build our economy, we need them to want things. And if they don't want anything, you gotta, you know what I mean? So, uh, yeah, we're gonna start. I think the best thing to do right now is to start turning those peasants, those tribesmen, into peasants. Okay, and then tax base 1.41. We're only gonna get so much from the nobility, but I think maximum tax is a bit abysmal for the nobility, and I don't want to give them anything that would give them more power. Besides, I think serfdom gives them more equilibrium. So there's that. Yeah, all the things that would improve serfdom, except for this, but I can't get this government reform because it doesn't exist right now. And that's just not worth it, and that I can't get. Yeah, rights and nobility. That'll be. But I think I want the other. No, I don't want that other one. Fortification maintenance, monthly progress to serfdom. Yeah, let's start building stuff. Another issue that we have is that oh wait, masonry. Masonry is going to become a problem if we don't source some more resources so that we can build more masonry. But yeah, and also tools. We need tools, but we don't have iron to make use of this, and we don't have tin to make use of that. But we can get copper. We can do that. And I'm 100% going to. Well, I can't degrade that from a town because it's gonna create separatism. Well, at the very least, I can at least vassalize them, and I can just make them start building copper. Yeah. All right. But our most profitable, um, you know what I'm talking about. Our most profitable business is going to be in the textiles. So let's build that. Let's build two, because that's the max capacity. And the capacity of the city, I mean. Additionally, we're going to build. I don't want to build the cotton yet. I don't want to build the cotton yet, just because um, I want to see how much money I make, and then we'll make that decision later. And let's start the game. Increase the time a little bit. And so we should start seeing a good amount of tribesmen turn into peasants. And now the peasants aren't, as I showed you before, the peasants aren't going to ask for a lot. But something is better than nothing, as the saying goes. Something is better than nothing. And what we can do, we can start turning, them into laborers who I think will ask, will demand for more than the peasants, if I'm not mistaken. Sturdy grains, wild game, fish, legumes, fruit. Legumes, fruit, legumes, fish, wild game. It looks like the same. It looks to be the same. The best thing is when when we turn these tribesmen into peasants. That's what we want more than anything else. It'd probably be better to turn the peasants into burghers, because then they're going to demand cloth, and we want that. So we want a lot of burghers, as much as we can get. And we can get, oh, the founding of Dahomey. Okay, that's that happens every time, at least from what I've seen. But yeah, we're gonna want to try and turn most of the population into burghers. Obviously, that's going to increase their power, but above all, out of all the things that we want, having more burgers is high in our priority. What is going on here? I would figure there would be more tribesmen. I'm confused. That's one thing I wish I could see. I wish I could see what is causing this particular number of peasants, of tribesmen to be upgraded to peasants, and why there isn't more. Or is it a population thing? I would think that it's not necessarily dependent on population in as much as it's dependent on something else, which I'm not seeing at the moment. Let me know in the comments. And we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out one way or another. That's usually how that goes. Yeah, Benin is far more developed than Zimbabwe, even though historically Zimbabwe had a lot more going on, if my understanding of the history is correct. And they had Great Zimbabwe should be in a better position than Benin because Zimbabwe was trading between African countries and Indian countries as well. But in the game, it's only able to reach like the East African coast as opposed to reaching the Indian coast, which will make them a lot richer historically than they are in the game. And Paradox, you can fight me on that. I mean, they had all the gold. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Like, they had all the gold. One of the richest gold mines outside of the Mali Empire. I don't know what to tell you. And we're just waiting for this spinner skills to finish. Let's see. So like I said before, the initial plan. So we're going to create a claim in Akure, most most likely, and we're going to use their cotton because they're not using it themselves. Alright, let's build some more. Yeah, so our Spanish guilds are going to be super profitable because we have so much cotton. And because of our production efficiency. So once we start getting more population, we can keep improving the production efficiency of the cotton to the point where we might possibly be able to start trading. Well, probably not there. Um, no, Bago doesn't have access to uh, profitable textiles that I can see. Well, they do have the wool. The question is, are they making use of that wool? Can you not? Yeah, the question is, are they gonna be able to be making use of that wool? Which I don't think they are. Let's see. Yeah, they are in need of cloth. They are in dire need of, well, not dire need of cloth, but we can start trading in cloth. We're just gonna send an export order of cloth, and then let's see. We got cloth to Niani. So what I'm unsure of is, oh, architectural visionary. I love that. I love that for us. Now Niani is probably going to have access to, maybe not. They have some access to textile industry, but I think who we might be able to create good trading relations with is um, Bago. And if we can take, because I believe Nupe, some of this is, their cotton is part of this market over here, the Kano market. If we can vassalize Nupe and steal those resources from them, steal those resources from this market, um, that will very much upset the balance. Although we can already see how masonry is becoming an issue, but we're about ready to invade Neri. Should be once we get to the 20, we should, it should take us like, well, I'm not sure. I think it, I think the Casus Belli creation time scales with some things. I'm not entirely sure what those things are though. Our prices went down, it looks like. Not really. Interesting. I don't want to export clay at all. What I do want to export is cloth. Okay, and we're ready to start creating Casus Belli, cleanse heresy, and again we can conquer all of that. Or vassalize, I believe. Subjugate. I don't know. I don't remember it. The cost of conquering them. was this high. I don't remember it being like that, but we'll see. And we're gonna keep building spinners guilds. We might start building paper makers as well, but we'll see how it all fares. And we got our first son, who is destined to be the next ruler. I think about it. It was using its trade. Okay, fair enough. What do you mean I have unused trade capacity? Okay. I think I can support that. It's gonna be a slow burn because we still have to build up our economy. It's gonna take some time for us to build that up. One thing I forgot to do is put a granary town right here as an urban right. The local food capacity increase as well as the food decay is going to help us boost up our population growth. So population growth is, yep. We got about, looks like 10 extra population growth from that. Well, not 10, probably like, it's more like, 7. But that's pretty decent. Yeah. And there is the idea that I could start building masonry, and I should start building masonry buildings so that it could reduce the cost of buildings. However, since the profit I would get out of building more mason buildings is much less than what I get from building additional spinners guilds. So it's still better for me to it's still better for me to build it's still better for me to build spinners guilds instead, because there's not really builds around the same time, and the profitability is significantly lower. So it's better to just continue building spinners guilds. I think probably the threshold for building in masonry, a masonry building, as opposed to another spinners guild, is probably once the profitability, the increase in income is at like It's probably safe to say like 10, which is going to be a while. That's 100% going to take a while. We can increase the time. There's not a lot. There's not a lot going on. I'm waiting to spend money on things, and everything else is pretty chill. All right. So going back to our plan, even though I like that, I do like that. However, it's not going to be as good as it will be later on. Monastery network, monthly control, start local max literacy for clergy. That'd actually be pretty good. That'd actually be pretty good. But right now we gotta stick to our plan, which is it doesn't matter. And then we're gonna fabricate on Akure in the last 60 months. And then once we take out Neri, we can take Akure. Because I don't want these to grow their in the economies too much, so they start building towns and whatnot. Because Ife is already a town. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. But I mean, it's not a problem for me right now. But it'll definitely be an issue in the future. I'll take the extra prestige. Oof. If I spend this money and he dies, I'm going to be very upset. Okay, it was worth it. Okay, and we're getting some immigration to South Benin from Borgu. All right. With the 10 proceeds, we're gonna go ahead and start. What's the culture? Igbo, Ijaw. Yeah, let's start. Let's start worsening our opinion of the Ijaw culture. Yeah, I don't care for that. And let's build another Spinner's Guild. And we can probably send out get some more cloth out there. let's actually start improving our opinion with Kabu so that we can I want to say, yeah, they have both feudalism and legalism. So we're going to start improving opinion so that we can get some institution spread through the use of fleet basing rights, and there's another one. Market access. I don't think this does anything. I was just checking. I was just checking, but it doesn't do anything. If you give, if you get fleet basing rights, you get plus 10% embraced institutions, and you also get it if you purchase, if you offer, and then if you get fleet basing rights, you get plus 10 embraced institution spread, to a total of 20 if you if not a defensive league. If you ally them, you get a bonus. I don't know if you get plus 20 on top of the 20. I think you get plus 20 on top of the 20 that you get from the fleet basing rights. Yeah, I think it's just. Yeah, I think it's at most. I think it's at most 40% from what I'm reading. And we're almost ready to start our war. Before we get into that, let us do common militias, which will improve our levies. Alright, and they have 5,000. They have 5,000 like we have 5,000. That's not good. Alright, so this is what we're going to do. I mean, we could probably still win the fight as long as we make judicious use of these forts we have. But I would rather swing it into our favor as best as possible. And I know that you guys are going to be upset, but that's a risk I'm willing to take. Alright. Let's get ready for battle. This is going to be destructive to our economy, but it will be for the best. Fantastic. Gonna wait for these 300 to form up. And we're going to attack them. So because they're in the fort, we automatically get they automatically become the attacker, and that means they take all the bonuses that they normally would have normally we would have taken if it weren't that we held this fort. So, as a rule, it's generally good to let's put you there. Oh, are we taking a attrition? Why are we losing food? Okay, I was about to say. I'm still struggling to understand, like the food disparities here. Rather, I'm struggling to understand like the logistics still, because it's getting the food from here. Um, but like, there's some instances where it's not, where it won't get the food, where it won't get the food where it should get the food. Because I understand, like, if you have like let me see, if you have a fort in between your foods, your source of food, that's gonna get blocked off. But then there's points where it's like, why am I not getting you food? So yeah, there's gonna be. I'm pretty sure there's gonna be, unless they fix it, because has been a little bit of wonkiness with how they're doing supply. I mean, I like the theoretically, I like the idea of having like these supply lines, so you can't just go to these random spots, and just conquer all these. You gotta literally spend time and resources and money if you're trying to conquer a large empire. And that's why it's not as beneficial to be going to war with these larger nations, because it's going to come at a greater cost to you. But yeah, I like the idea of like the supply system, because it makes like what they used to do in EU4, like just walking to the right spot that you want to be in without having to deal with other things. Now they make it so you have a food thing, and you need food to be able to have to be able to support foreign interventions or foreign wars. And if you can't get that food to your army, then they're just gonna die off. Like I appreciate that addition into this game. Oop, I can build another one. Another one. Oop, well, I can build a paper maker. That's fun. Let's take it back. Sometimes you gotta readjust the trade orders so you can find something more profitable. And we'll see if that gives us anything better than what we're getting right now. Fantastic. Let's do it one more time. Let's see if we get better income. Oh, forgot to put this in. Oh yeah, we just now got slaves. Yep, gotcha. And this is a great counter to the spiritualist drift we were getting from taking the clergy privileges. So our son is gregarious. That's cool, but we want you administrative as well. Looks like they've unconditionally surrendered, which means I can't get as many slaves as I wanted to get, but that's fine. We're going to take your money. I think we want that. So, I just gave him an education. Okay. And so now, let's see here. I could perhaps manipulate things. So Oyo likes us because we rival Borgu. So we could forge an alliance with Oyo, which would work for us if we can which would work for us if we can if they can help us invade Nupe. Eventually we're going to turn on them because we do want Oyo as part of the kingdom. But for now, that is tantalizing opportunity. Um, Also, what we want to do now is start sending people to Benin as part of our grow Benin, the city of Benin into a into a new Rome, we shall say. And there's going to be a lot of migration. So I kind of realized that the amount of pox migrating is based off of not just the numbers themselves, but off of um, I don't know what I was gonna say. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But after a while, it's gonna taper off, obviously. But I think that is because um, some of these provinces they can no longer they can no longer support actually expelling all the people. All right, Age of Renaissance. We're probably most definitely going to go this administrative unless we see anything. Because I haven't even looked at some of this stuff yet. I haven't even looked at some of this other stuff before. Claim fabrications, true commerce, merchant traditions, privateers, don't care. Subject income, that's not enough. War score efficiency is good. Tolerance, tolerance is good. That's okay. That's good. That's good. Combined with our the technology that gives our light cavalry more power. That's good. That's pretty good as well, actually. But that being said, I I think I'd rather focus on improving our economy. All right, and now we can add Ichiro, so we can take. Wait, is this Ichiro? That's Ichibo. Ijiro is. Is it this? No. So where's Ijiro? Just on that's Ijiro, which is 30 grain. Okay. I'll take both of them, and then I'm probably gonna just vassalize it, and I'll make them a co-belligerent because I can. Raise all my levies. We'll just conquer it. Like it'll be easy to conquer these. It'll be pretty easy to conquer these guys. Let's do that. That was absolute domination, as I expected it to be. Let's see here. Alright, so that was relatively straightforward. So we're going to take money from these guys and take their land. And then we're going to take money from these guys and take their land. And then we're going to create county of E0. create them as a vassal. And then we're going to do a couple of things. Can enforce culture. We'll just we'll just go ahead and give them we're gonna seed them a Kore. Because it's gonna take them a while before we can start converting them to our culture. We're going to let's make another spinner's guild, even though we make more money from the paper maker. But I do want to see if I can. Let's do that. I do want to see if I can. I can't even make the thought that I want to make. I do kind of want to create some slave trade here, or at least just build slaves. Uh, build a slave building. Wait a minute. Speaking of which, oh, it's right here. Okay, cool. Ah, we need leather. I can probably build that. Could build that, but I don't want to until I can get the cost of tar down. And how much money can I make from that specifically? It's a decent amount of money. Decent amount. So how much do we have? What's the deficient? Okay. Okay. Let me see who Nupe has rivaled Isedo. We're gonna turn them into a rival, I guess. Going to rival them. Now the question is, do I have to do the same shenanigans? Yeah. So I mean, there's the same religion, so I won't be able to use the religious war, even if I wanted to. So we're probably going to have to use Parliament again. Though I'm 100% going to siphon their population. starting to get slaves. Starting to be able to enslave slaves. Enslave slaves. Crazy. Um, I want to increase the amount of slaves we can make per month. But again, there's a couple of things that need to be done before we can get to where we want to be. Excuse me. Do I want to start working on expanding my slave market? Nah. I think the thing that I want to focus on is building our economy and siphoning these slaves. Once the migrations get to underneath 1,000, I'm probably going to turn this back into a vassal state. But for now, it's serving its purpose. Migration is migration is very much helping us get to our meet our population growth metrics. Because once we can turn this city into a megalopolis, it's going to improve our population growth even more. But it also means that I can migrate even more population into Benin without suffering a malice to my population growth. So it all works out. Let's improve. Actually, let's check on Kabul and see about purchasing fleet basing rights. And that should start increasing our institution spread already. It's not the greatest, but it's better than 0.04. Price of cloth's going back up, or at least, well, the price, our price for cloth is going down. Their price of cloth is going up. And once we take some of this cloth, I don't think we'll be able to. I don't think we'll be able to muscle our way into this market. Not entirely. Let's see, because all that's part of that market. Though I could make a new market if I conquer Borgu, and I make a new market in Borgu. But that also means that I take away from my own market, which I don't like. I mean, that's fine as long as I'm in control of it, I guess. No, I want to have control of this. I want to have control of these iron. So maybe creating a market there is unwise. Maybe Zamfara. Creating a market in Zamfara, like Upper Zamfara, just as a way to. It's an economic warfare of a sort, because right now they're getting all three of these provinces, and if I take that away from them, that's less cotton that they're going to be making, and potentially that's cotton that we can be sending our way through the diverting of the trade. So yeah, there's a plan. There's a plan percolating in this little noggin of mine. Yeah. But guys, I think this could be a great time to stop it right here. Um, so basically, we pretty much did our prerequisite stuff. Hold on. Let's see if we can get some more. Can't offer it to them. All right, because yeah, the subject. I just need the institution straight. I don't care too much for that. But we did what we needed to do there, so let's move on to Jollof, and hopefully we can get the feudalism to spread a lot faster once we get Jollof in the mix. But anyway, this is yeah, this will be a good time to call it right here. So we accomplished most of our very early goals, which was our initial goal was to take over Neri and to start making use of their start getting control of their resources. Uh, with the intent to take all of their population. Well, not all of it. We still need people to work the land. Well, they can work the land as slaves. Still crazy work. Still crazy that I'm doing this right after Juneteenth. Diabolical. Anyway, um, yeah. So yeah, we've conquered Neri. We're probably going to release them as a vassal once we've siphoned as much population as is worth using the cabinet for, which will help us grow Benin, which will help us build our economy in general as we begin our imperialistic aims to take all of West Africa. Um, as I was saying before, probably the next move is either going to be expanding more into this area or taking over Nupe to uh, create a staging point for newer invasions into Zamfara, maybe. And all of that is probably going to have to. That's probably going to take a while, simply because um, oh, okay, allied with Ijibu and Ije, so that's not great. But yeah, we're gonna have to. But we can probably wage the war either on them or we can start taking the resources over here, which is saffron's pretty good. Is a pretty good resource to be making use of, and it's probably be better to take this over while they don't have any, while they haven't built any urban infrastructure, because I don't need them building urban infrastructure because that'll cut in into my um, things that I can trade to other places. So screw all of that noise. If it's getting away of my money, I can't support it. But yeah, we're going. I'm still debating whether or not I want to take over, um, make my next conquest Ijibu or attack Nupe, which was won't be a decent it won't be a bad invasion plan as far as like manpower wise because we still dwarf them or yeah, Egypt is probably worse. Actually, they're the same. It's this okay? That's strange, but all right. We may need to may we may need to postpone that a little bit, or we probably just make use of the fact that they're allied with Nupe and Ondo. So perfect. That's perfect. So we wage war with Ondo, who's allied with Owo. So we wage war with all of these and remove them from the remove these people as allies because they're now my vassals. And then we can probably make moves on Nupe after we've neutralized the threat here. But that's probably going to take at least 10 years. That's gonna be 10 years of planning simply because we can't. They share our religion, so we can't just say we're cleansing your heresy and just invading. We actually have to have, and we can't even use a religious war because they're the same religion. So we're definitely just going to have to use the parliament to fabricate a claim, and then on Ondo, which is going to draw them in and draw them in, take this over and release this land to our new vassal here, the first of many, and then our plan should be after that to take Nupe so that we can start weakening the market up here, because it's going to be these guys, then this guy, then Borgu. No, no, no. Probably Zamfara. It depends on how powerful Zamfara is compared to Borgu, and we'll determine. It's probably going to be Zamfara because that will be the most economically devastating for the Kano market. And then we can start making use of the resources that these nations are producing and sending it our way. And we'll probably, yeah, it'll probably help our cause way more if we establish a market that we control under our vassals, because they're not going to own this land. We're just going to release it to the vassal, to a vassal, and then have the vassal preside over this area. Probably make a market around the northern area of Zamfara, but we'll figure that out. We'll figure it out next time. And I hope you guys enjoyed watching. Sorry I haven't made a video in like months and months, but like I said, life happens. But I'm pretty sure that I can get the next video out in rapid fashion. Maybe tomorrow, maybe the day after. I'm aiming for tomorrow because I shouldn't have anything going on tomorrow. In any case, thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you the next time.